Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12 of the Combat Chain podcast. I am your host, Adam Philipchuk, alongside Pat Shaw. And how's it going today, Pat?
Adam's going great. It's been a productive week for members of the Combat Chain, and I'm happy to be sitting back down and recording the main show with you.
Yeah, a lot of things on the go for us lately. Pat, you launched your series there, Fatigued?
Parents Playing Flesh and Blood. My first guest was Parker Brown, aka Breezy, and he actually just released a new article on wrathtimes.com covering Kasai as a blitz tech. So go check out that video and go check out his articles on Wrath Times. So, thank you, Parker, for coming onto the program with me.
Nice. And on top of that, a bit of a milestone for us. We've been talking about it on the past few episodes, and we finally got to it. We hit our 100 subscriber milestone on YouTube.
Woo! Yeah!
And in fact, not only did we hit it, we actually exceeded it. We're sitting at 109 subscribers now, and it's actually been really cool. I've found, at least like just over these past couple of days, it almost feels like we kind of got a little bit of a snowball effect going, and it's just starting to trickle in. And we did, if anybody was paying attention to our, of course people were paying attention to our Twitter. That's where we were kind of promoting it, and it was cool to see it kind of pick up and gain steam and grow, and, you know, to be at 109 now. And I think the next big milestone is 250, where we'll do another, my hope is another cool giveaway. But on the topic of giveaways, we did do the giveaway for the sleeves, the deck boxes, the cold foil data doll. We will be posting, is that on Twitter we're doing that?
Yeah, we will post the winners on Twitter. We are reaching out to the winners as we speak to confirm contact information and all that. And once we have confirmed everything with everybody, we'll post the winners.
Yeah, so congrats to everyone. Super exciting all around. And yeah, I'm excited for what comes next for the future of the channel. Excited to have you all on board with us.
Absolutely. It does feel like we're gaining momentum. I think we're making a name for ourselves, and I think the sky's the limit. I do want to # shameless plug. I also was a guest on Fresh and Buds this week.
Yes, that's right. You were.
So check out that podcast. It was released on Wednesday, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. And we had a really good conversation, and I was happy to be on there. And I do believe that Tommy is looking at you, Adam, I believe in the next month or so.
Yeah, he reached out to me. We're looking at maybe mid-April. We're going to be doing something together, him and I, on his channel. Not certain. We don't have an exact date picked out yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. I was listening to, I think it was his episode 30, and he's doing a giveaway for a playmat, and it's for this weekend in Indy. The first person to bring him a bottle of a very specific barbecue sauce gets the playmat, and I just died with laughter when I heard that. Like, what a genius giveaway. Inspires me for...
I said, that's funny because he did a similar giveaway with a different bottled condiment on my episode, so he's gonna get a lot of weird crap coming his way.
Well, and I was chatting with him afterwards, and I was like, dude, what a hilarious concept for a giveaway. And he's like, I hope somebody actually does it. And I'm like, you hope one person does it? I think many people are going to do it. You need to prepare for this. Like,
definitely, it's gonna be a riot. I'll have to reach out to him during the weekend and see how many how many condiments he's
bottles
collected.
of barbecue sauce Tommy Fresh ended up with.
He asked for Ken's Steakhouse blue cheese.
That's what it was. Ken's Steak. That's the same one from episode 30 as well. Ken's Steakhouse blue cheese.
Okay, all right.
That should be like the... We could almost have like different pools for different callings, and like calling Indy, one of the pools can be like the over under on how many bottles of barbecue sauce Tommy Fresh ends up with.
I'm glad it's consistent though. I thought he was really going Heath Ledger Joker and just changing it up every episode. And now he's just gonna get all sorts of just mustards and barbecue sauce salad dressings, just messing with people.
Wouldn't that be funny? Just like bring him a bottle of Thousand Island salad dressing,
right? Just like, I couldn't find blue cheese, but here's some honey Dijon. I brought the Great Poupon, bro. Yeah, right. I didn't have anything else. Here's some pickles. Does this count?
Some gherkins. Hey, Tommy Fresh, I brought you some gherkins.
We love you, Tommy.
So much. When I heard that, I died. But yeah, you're doing good, Pat. How was your week? Did you get up at any good games?
So after my ProQuest weekend debacle, I guess you would call it, I did not do well. I'll put it that way. Did not meet my expectations. But I decided after that weekend to recommit myself to classic constructed play. So what I did was sign up for as many constructed leagues as I could get my name into, and 2 of them fired off since we last broadcasted, and I've had 4 total rounds of classic constructed league action running the same Visceri list that was featured on our previous episode, featuring Amusing from Galaxy Gaming. So I've been running that list, and I so far in 3-1 in 4 rounds of play. This is across 2 leagues. I'm 1-1 and I'm 2-0 in separate leagues, but I feel good about it. I've got 2 other leagues that start up in April. I've gathered a bunch of people together to play test for the calling for those who didn't qualify for the Pro Tour, and we want to make something of our scrub selves. So we're getting some play testing in for that. Skirmish season's coming up, and I'm jamming some blitz. Just trying to get games in, quality games in, and put in the work that I felt like I kind of missed coming into ProQuest. So, we're on Vengeance Tour, New Jersey, looking towards the calling, starting now.
Hey, no, that's awesome. And you know what? I think with calling jersey being attached to Pro Tour jersey, that whole weekend is just going to be a riot. You've got
it's going to be a great time.
The inaugural Pro Tour. You've got the calling that weekend, the Battle Hardened on the Sunday. It's going to be a good time. I'm very excited for it. Jersey will be there. We're excited to interact with all of you there. So you're talking about leagues.
Yep, that was just got some very good games in, playing Visceri, trying to stay disciplined, and getting the work in. So hoping to just transfer that as I go, just improving as a player, and seeing where it goes. And those leagues are kind of my go-to right now. I've kind of dropped off the Armory scene a little bit, in favor of productive games that may or may not produce XP through either a playtest environment or something similar to that. So I think I'm just going to ride that wave. I think the XP train crashed at the beginning of February. I'm not getting that anytime soon. So focusing on the quality and not trying to grind XP or anything like that at the moment.
Hey, I respect that. I think that's important. Quality over quantity. 100%. get the quality you need in so that when those games that matter happen, you're ready for them.
Yeah, definitely. And I do talk about some of that with Tommy Fresh from the Fresh and Buds podcast when I guested this week. So take a listen and get into an introspective of Patch's life as a competitive Flesh and Blood player.
Hashtag shameless plug.
Hashtag shameless plug. All right. I've already taken this thing off the rails. Let's get back on with the news.
Yes.
Let's start out with some product announcements from LSS. We will start with Classic Battles, Rhinar versus Dorinthia. LSS is releasing a pre-constructed dual deck product that is coming out May 27th of this year. This is featuring Rhinar versus Dorinthia, and it is coming with a MSRP of $49.90, so just under $50. It includes 2 ready-to-play 40-card blitz decks, 2 cold foil heroes, 2 cold foil weapons, 8 rainbow foil equipment cards, an illustrated mini lore booklet, and a quick start playmat. Dorinthia has already been previewed as well as a brand new mentor for Dorinthia, and Dorinthia has a new Dorinthia, so presumably there's going to be a new Rhinar as well, and she has a new hero ability.
New hero ability, a new weapon.
Yep. Dorinthia Quicksilver Prodigy. The first time Dawnblade Resplendent gains go again each turn, you may attack an additional time with it this turn. And 4 intellect and 20 life. So I'm sure there's going to be more to come. It sounds like there's going to be a few different new cards, new class specialization for each hero, new mentor, and new hero abilities. So I'm definitely looking forward to this product release. I'm probably going to grab a couple. If we're being honest, I'm probably going to grab one to crack open and get the cards, and then probably one to hold on to.
Oh yeah, I'm so excited for this. One to keep sealed, one to crack open at the minimum, and then if there's a card in there that you find out you need multiple copies of, then now you're chasing down even more copies of it. And I even heard something spicy. Somebody suggested, like, what if each there's reprints of chase cards in there, like the Rhinar has a copy of CNC and Dorinthia has a copy of E-Strike or something like that.
Then I would love that $50 price point. I'll tell you that. If there's new reprints of Chase Majestics like that, that would be great. Either way, I'm definitely looking forward to. I've always been a big fan of Rhinar and Dorinthia. Those classic Welcome to Wrath heroes. Those battles are always fun to play, and I anticipate this will be right there with that.
Yeah, and I mean, just based off the information we've gotten already, you can assume that we're going to get a new Rhinar weapon, Romping Club Resplendent, a new mentor, a new all that, and it even makes you wonder: are we going to get classic battles, Bravo versus Katsu? Get a new Bravo, get a new Katsu, get mentors for those. Who knows? Like the sky's the limits. I'm so excited to see what we're going to get moving forward.
I think when I saw these initially, my first thought was Ira is a top tier Blitz hero, and they came from like a welcome deck, like they came from a different product.
Yep.
So there is a ton of potential in these new cards, and especially with the ability to the Dawnblade Resplendent, whatever that does, it gets the additional attack built in as long as it has go again. So it's I think it's a smoother ability to hit twice than the Dawnblade is. So it'll be interesting to see what that weapon looks like and how it fits in and how it might be able to be used elsewhere.
Yeah. I imagine the weapon and the hero are at least in the Dorinthia's case, the weapon and the hero are probably going to have to go together. But just the new deck building possibilities we're going to get from this, the new everything we're going to get from this. It's so exciting. It can't come soon enough.
It's definitely a good way to freshen up a non-rotating product, right? By introducing things like this into it. Like even if, it'll be interesting to see how much it impacts like at the Blitz format, but that some of those cards may see play elsewhere, and that's always a good thing.
Yes, 110%. We're also getting on top of classic Battle Duel decks, we're also getting the Dragon Shield sleeves.
Yes, we are. We are getting a collaboration between LSS and Dragon Shield to bring 4 new official Flesh and Blood matte art sleeves to the market. Those are coming out on April 22nd. The first line of these sleeves will feature 4 heroes from Flesh and Blood, and they are Oldhim, Lexi, Chain, and Prism.
You know what? When they said 4 iconic heroes that they were going to present, I'm not going to lie, I kind of expected the original 4. I expected something
a little more iconic than what we got.
Yeah, Prism's iconic, Chain's iconic. All those heroes are iconic in their own way. Don't get me wrong, but
right. They're good heroes. They're popular, but they're definitely not who you were thinking of when they said iconic heroes of Flesh and Blood. We're definitely thinking about the first 8 heroes, either Welcome to Wrath, or Arcane Rising heroes. I would have been perfectly content with seeing them. I would have been happy with any combination. Give me Dash, Viserai, Rhinar, and Katsu. Whatever you want to do there. I think any combination of those would have been great. These, I don't know. Don't know why they did that. Dragon Shield partnerships, and I love Dragon Shield. They do end up with a little wonky stuff when it comes to like sponsored sleeves. The Justice League sleeves I thought were a little odd. The movie tie-ins, just to have Henry Cavill on my sleeves if I wanted to get Superman ones. I always thought that was a little odd there. But this is another. It's nice to have. Love Flesh and Blood styled sleeves, and if I'm building a Prism deck, I'm probably looking at those for funsies. But I wanted Rhinar, Dorinthia, Katsu, and Bravo. That's what I wanted out of those.
Yeah,
but still a high quality product. Dragon Shield is very, very reliable. It's matte art sleeves, which are a good quality. I'm very particular about my sleeves, but the matte art ones fall into what I deem acceptable in my sleeving.
Yeah, and you know what? I haven't used Dragon Shield much myself. I do like their resealable inner sleeves, but beyond that, I haven't experimented much with them. So I don't know what to fully expect from these sleeves personally, and I'm just gonna kind of wait till I get the opportunity to dig into them, and we'll go from there. That's my take on it, at least.
Yeah, that's fair. What sleeves do you use? What's your go-to?
I am an Ultra Pro Eclipse kind of guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Intriguing. All right. I do. That is, you know what? On another episode, we'll have to dive into the equipment that we use for our cards, because that is a very interesting. I would like to talk to you more about that, so we'll just save that.
Fair enough.
All right, moving on. We have Pro Tour announcement for Pro Tour number 2.
Yes.
Adam, where are we going for Pro Tour number 2?
We're going to France, and this one's very near and dear to my heart. France is such a special place to me. I'm so excited for this announcement, and I can tell you I'm going to be working so hard to snag the invite for this one, just because not attending France is a non-option for me.
Fair enough. A specific venue has not been announced yet, but we do know that this Pro Tour will take place in August. It will feature the next Flesh and Blood release, which is coming mid-year, so that's exciting to hear. And it is going to support, that set is going to support a return to limited play, so it's a standalone booster set like Tails or or Arcane Rising or Welcome to Wrath that you could draft, meaning the second Pro Tour is going to feature a hybrid format of both Classic Constructed and draft through both days of qualifiers, with the top 8 featuring the best players battling it out in the Classic Constructed format. In a similar mold as some of these other events, alongside the Pro Tour itself, there will be a full weekend of public events, including a Saturday calling event and a Sunday Battle Hardened event. So that is going to be exciting. There's also going to be a new fresh season of ProQuest qualifying events that will lead up into Pro Tour number 2.
Yeah, ProQuest season number 2 is a very exciting announcement as well. Even though ProQuest season 1 just ended, that was such a blast, and that we're going to be able to look forward to another one right away is so exciting. I
do love this semi-steady stream of competitive events that have come through. So like last year you had RTN season, and I think I got to imagine there's going to be an RTN season in 2022 as well. But you went from Skirmish season 3 to ProQuest season 1 to Skirmish season 4. Now at least ProQuest season 2 is coming up. It feels like there's always something to be getting ready for in a major event down the road that you can plan on, and I think that's a pretty exciting place to be right now. Especially if you're into the competitive aspect of Flesh and Blood, they are really, I think, living up to that attitude towards TCGs. It's a fun place to be in right now. All right. In addition to the Pro Tour announcement, effective March 14th, Comprehensive Rules 2.0 are in effect. This is also something I think it itself warrants a longer discussion, and probably bringing on a judge friend perhaps to really get into the nitty-gritty there. There are a lot of different elements that are intuitive but different, that are now in effect. The stack, for instance, is now a part of the game. Stack is a very familiar concept to players of other TCGs, and we now have a similarly labeled and functioning part of the game. And there are just a few more tidbits like that. The complete collapse of Find Center as a playable card, and a few other things. Like I said, I think it's worth it's something that a prepared conversation is probably warranted here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll definitely dive into that a little more.
Just gotta find our judge guest. All
right, moving on from that, another product release that came out was Tolarian Community College's Kickstarter deck box, the Academic 133 Plus, launched on Kickstarter this week and was backed almost immediately. It was backed so quickly it actually crashed the Kickstarter servers, causing a lot of complications for people who were looking to get the first 1,000 deck boxes that came with a stamped signature. So not everybody who wanted to get that and signed up on time were able to, but as it stands right now, we are looking at a project on Kickstarter that has been backed by 24,539 backers for a total pledge of $1,337,979 out of a $50,000 goal. Not too shabby.
A lot of money for a deck box.
It is $45 for a deck box. So it is not for everyone. I do encourage people who are interested in it to take a look at the Tolarian Community College YouTube page. It goes into what's in it. It is not for everybody. Not everybody needs or wants a deck box like that. I do think that it has a very particular utility for Flesh and Blood players. And that's my motivation for backing the project. So to each their own. Always make your own evaluation when it comes to products like this, and make a decision that makes sense for yourself. But I don't know how much weight my endorsement carries, but I am backing the project, and I look forward to using that deck box. That's for sure.
Now, I was looking at the deck box a bit, and the little expandy divider thingy, is that a gimmick, or do you think that's the real deal?
The little black thing that comes as an add-on?
Yeah.
I think that's more of a. I think he even labels it as like a novelty product.
Okay.
I don't know how seriously I would take it. It is a cool. It is cool. I would like something like that. I don't know how well it's going to work, but I definitely would love something that I can put into a deck box that kind of helps squeeze the air out, or just kind of closes the gap a little bit. So I don't know if that completely fulfills that goal there, but it'll be interesting to see. I like the acrylic divider that can come out and move aside. I like the box, the drawer little latches off to the side that can come out, and how accessible those are, and the fact that they can fit mini snaps.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for me. Is everywhere seems to fit mini snaps, so that I can load up some equipment, and I can carry around a fully. I'm hoping that I can hold a full CC deck plus equipment in that deck box, and I keep my equipment in mini snaps. So right now I have to carry them separately because I don't have a deck box that actually holds all of my stuff adequately. So the idea that I can put it all in one box is something that is my main motivator there. April Armory kits were announced on the Flesh and Blood YouTube channel. They released it in a preview video that they said they had stopped doing them for some time, but they are LSS is looking to restart the little videos like that. And so the April Armory kit is the Illusionist kit this for April, and instead of one cold foil promo, you have the opportunity to get 3 different cold foil promos, and they are the Aura Cycle from Everfest. So you can get cold foil Haze Bending, a cold foil Passing Mirage, a cold foil Pierce Reality, as well as Release the Tension is the Rainbow Foil Extended Art, and the People's Champion playmats are the Shimmer of Silver artwork, which looks phenomenal.
Oh, it all looks so good. This is a spicy Armory kit. They did a good job on this one.
Prism is the feels like the blingiest hero you can get your hands on. You can get a cold foil Prism, extended art Herald of Erudition. You can get extended art Herald of Protections. You can get cold foil rare auras. I feel like I'm missing other stuff that is exclusive to Illusionist here, but it's really bringing out EDH levels of bling here.
I mean, the gold foils that exist, that if you really want to sink
and the
money
gold foils, yeah.
Oh, there's so much bling you can invest into Prism if you want to.
That's right. Yeah, I think you can. Is there gold vestige? There's definitely a gold tunic. So if you're running auras, you're running tunic, so you can gold foil the tunic. You can gold foil footsteps. What are they running? What are they running for arms these days? Is it Dreamweavers? No, it's not Dreamweavers.
Depends on the matchup, really, because they've got their Nullrune gloves and they're in the Viscerai matchups, and it's a flex.
That's
spot
like the flex spot, though. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so our April Armory kit is Illusionist. I like the cold foil promos being different. It's not just a hero. I think that's a good collectability opportunity there. So I'm excited to see if they do something like that in the future with other stuff. That would be really, really neat.
Well, and that's just such a cool thing about LSS is they're always finding little ways to sneak in cool collectible things that sometimes even things that aren't even on your radar. They pop up when you least expect them, and it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have to have that.
The extended art Winds of Eternity stick out for me from Everfest.
Yeah, there you go. There's one. There's always one for everyone. Like with the new Armory kit, I gotta have me a playset of all those auras.
So I come from EDH in Magic, and there's a lot of things wrong with Magic, and that's why I left. But one of the right things was just how crazy I could get with the variants that I could put into a deck, getting the foil alts, basic lands in there, judge promos, the whole thing. I love blinging out decks as much as I can. So any opportunity that I can do that, I take advantage of. I hear it's actually awful for being competitive, because if you go into a tournament with a bunch of foils and like one of them's bent, one of them cringles a little bit there, Pringles up, you can get called for mark cards.
Yes.
But so it's a real danger there, but I love it. I have my Katsu deck is like 97% foil right now. It's minus a couple E-strikes and a couple Command and Conquers. But other than that, everything else is foil, and I got the Whelming Gust Wave promos and all that good stuff. That was a lot of fun to do. I'm happy about my decision to do that.
I mean, I guess on the other side, if the entire deck is foiled and the entire deck is pringled, is any of the deck marked?
That's, what? That is a good question to ask a judge.
If the entire deck is marked, is any of the deck marked?
Right. I know prepping for ProQuest, that was one of the big things, was like, get rid of your foils because you just want to play with your non-foil cards. You don't want to have, one of them be foil and stand out and you can get disqualified. That was a big thing for me. That did not stop me. I still have, like, my Viserai deck that I played in ProQuest has foils in it. It's not all foiled. It got deck checked on one day and it came back thumbs up. So not a problem unless you make it a problem.
Yeah. And I think those are good questions for when we have our judge episode, and we talk about Comp Rules 2.0. We can talk about the semantics of marked cards versus just running foils, because I think there is some important stuff in there.
I think that closes out the news, and I think it's time for our main topic.
Yeah.
This week's episode, our main topic is something that I think we both thoroughly enjoy. It is Skirmish season.
Hey, that's exciting.
Skirmish season 3, I think it was kind of a breakout for me. I think that's kind of how I made my name in Flesh and Blood around that time. So I don't know if I'd consider myself a Blitz specialist, but I'd like to. So I very happy that Skirmish season 4 is coming up. It is definitely a different landscape than where we left it in the end of season 3. Everfest has really changed the dynamic and have brought a few decks into the forefront that weren't in front beforehand. And I think one of the most important things that Everfest has done with Blitz is speed up the format. And that's not something that everybody enjoys, but it is, I think, a reality right now that Blitz is a very, very fast format currently.
How much faster can it get? Like,
it's a very good question.
It's almost scary at this point, like how fast how fast our formats are getting. CC games are starting to feel like Blitz games, and Blitz games are very fast.
Blitz is getting into, I used to joke around that I love Blitz because I want my 5-minute murder fest and move on with my life. But it turns out that's almost what I'm getting out of Blitz right now. I think there's a lot of decks that threaten not necessarily OTK style damage, but they really are presenting lethal in the second and third turns of the game, with some even going as soon as turn 1. Like Kano and Benji in particular, I think, have turn 0 and turn 1 OTK potential.
I certainly have been on the receiving end of a turn 0 Benji kill, and that is something that you just sit there helplessly, and they're like, attack for 2 unblockable, attack for 2 unblockable, and you're just like, cool, this is my life now.
Yep, this is happening. But, Everfest brought that support into the format. I think people are still trying to figure out what that means for them. And I thought that we could kind of discuss some of the more important aspects and meta choices coming into this skirmish season to give people some idea of what to expect, what to run, and how we feel about some of these decks as they stand right now. So I have a question for you, Adam, because you are a high-level competitive player. How do you feel about Blitz being used as a competitive format in things like callings and battle-hardened events coming up here in the future? As we have, like, the Calling Krakow is going to be a Blitz format.
I don't think I have the popular opinion, but I'm actually fine with it. I enjoy Blitz. I think Blitz is just a different game than CC is, and that's fine. Like, if you, for the purists who want to play CC, like, by all means, play CC. For those who just want to play Blitz, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Just play Blitz. For those who want to play both, enjoy both. They're different games. Blitz really tests your ability to, like, know when to block effectively, know how to pivot in dire situations, knowing how to play a really effective tempo game. Like, there's so many things about Blitz that are nuanced and that are different than CC, and I think for those reasons, like, if somebody really wants to be a truly proficient flesh and blood player, like, LSS is pushing things like hybrid events and being good at both CC and at limited. I think being good at both CC and Blitz is a further extension to that, because they're not the same game. I know, just like you, Pat, I cut my teeth on Blitz. Blitz was where I really learned a lot of this game, and then I had to adapt and take it to CC. And in some ways, sometimes I still feel like Blitz is more comfortable just because of the quicker games and just having a better feel for if you're in the driver's seat or not. I fully support LSS, using Blitz, using CC, using draft, sealed, everything. Heck, even hybrid Blitz CC events would be kind of interesting, like that.
Ooh.
Like, there's so many things they can do.
I agree with you. I share your mindset there. I thoroughly enjoy Blitz. I think it gets kind of a bad rep because it is such a easily consumable format. I guess the 30-minute rounds can make people think. The 30-minute rounds can make I think people kind of discredit it as a legitimate format, and there are classic constructed only people that will continue to discredit it. But it definitely is it's a speed kills format, and it is super skill intensive. And I think for some people that speed is a little more uncomfortable than they would care to admit. Going into this next season here, I feel like at the end of season 3, Blitz was in a pretty healthy spot. I think there was, at least in my opinion, I think the format was pretty wide open. There felt like there were anywhere between 6 or 7 viable decks that you can consider tier 1 at that point, and it made for a very, very interesting meta, and that diversity, I think, really encouraged some unique deck building, some fine tuning around your hero specific game plan, and making sure that you knew what your correct lines were for individual matchups there. Coming into this season, how do you feel about where the meta is at the moment?
I think we're still figuring it out, to be honest. Especially with the fact that the focus was CC for so long, and this is the first time we've been truly kind of finding ourselves back into Blitz since, I'd say, the crew era. So I think the meta's still up in the air. We know there's some strong decks in the meta, but to comfortably say that, hey, there's a deck that tops the other decks, I don't think we're there yet.
I agree. Let's take a look at some of the decks that have been standing out so far in the meta. So I like to think we have a pretty good perspective on that. We do have, like I said, we both cut our teeth on Blitz. We regularly attend Blitz events that are, I would consider it highly competitive, and people are bringing to that. So we get a pretty good snapshot of what's happening. So far, as it's happening. So I think we can point to 3 or 4 decks that could be considered on top right now. And for me, that is Kasai, Oldhim, and Kano, with Viserai somewhere in that mix. I'm not sure I can put it on the same exact level, so probably 1.5 with Viserai, but definitely Kasai, Oldhim, and Kano right now as tier 1, and like I said, with Viserai just trailing just a little hair behind those 3.
Kasai right off the bat. I think it's really easy to look at Kasai now and see how powerful she is. Blood on her hands was a huge upgrade for Kasai. So that one's not a surprise. And then Kano in Blitz has kind of just always sat on his little wizard pedestal doing little wizard things, and there's Spell Void did make it a little harder for him, the Spell Fray equipment, but beyond that there hasn't really been anything to slow Kano down in Blitz. And I've always found Kano games are interesting, where you can play to some ridiculous outs, and I think more often than not, if the Kano player is very heads up and is patient and can read their lines appropriately and just be able to identify what's going on in the game, they can find an out more often than not. But sometimes with Kano, you just don't got it, unfortunately, and you want to have it, and you try to dig for an answer, and you just do these weird convoluted things, and just at the end of the day, it's not there. But despite that, Kano is he's so strong in Blitz, and he really rewards those who put in the work with him, and who take the time to learn the lines and to learn his ceiling, because his ceiling is infinite, and it is just growing with each set that supports him.
I used to, in Season 3, I felt very comfortable with my Wizard matchup in Blitz. So I was running Hybrid Briar, and that was my jam. That's I top 4 Skirmish and took down Fighters Guild all on Hybrid Briar. And one of the things that made my Kano matchup workable was that there was kind of a known threshold there. There was a life total that I knew that I couldn't drop below, and I forget it. I think it was 11. Right, there was Kano auto lethals at a certain point before pre Everfest, and to get that the specific combo of wizard stuff. It's like Fork Lightning, Sonic Boom into Fork Lightning into Ether Flare. Something like that gives you like 12 unavoidable damage.
It's Stir Fork is the one that it comes in. You stir Crucible Fork Metacarpus nodes, and that comes in for 14 Arcane. And so then if they're at 11 or lower on AB3, it's lethal.
Thank you. I knew you had that in you. So like I used to run, one of my biggest things with Briar was that I could go AB3 and then with the Shock Charmers have Spell Void 2 on top of that. So when I needed it, I could stop 5. And being on the hybrid side of things, I had the blue count. So we would still. Kano's always been the MVP of Blitz, right? In my mind, I approach Kano matchups as a turn 2 showdown. I feel like someone's going to die on turn 2. In either it's going to be on my job. Playing Kano has always been make Kano uncomfortable and have to dig for an answer because they're not prepared to do it at the moment. And if I can make you dig, then I feel like I'm at the advantage. I am still obligated to present lethal on that turn though, and that's where things can be slippery. I favor aggressive decks historically, and so right now I'm maining Viserai and Blitz, but the same concept is there where my challenge is to put Kano into a predicament on turn 2 because I feel like that's all the time I have, and if I can't present a lethal scenario for them, I'm in trouble anyways because they're going to just turn around and kill me. With the addition of Everfest now, that threshold, I don't know what that threshold is anymore. It was, you could deal 14. The threshold was 11 on AB3. With the addition of Aether Wildfire on top of that, I don't know what's safe anymore. So Kano has gone back to scaring the crap out of me on a regular basis.
I don't even know what's safe right now. Aether Wildfire definitely increases the ceiling, and there are other little things that increase the ceiling too. And it's right now, I think Kano is in a place where like we in theory we know what Kano is generally capable of, but he might be capable of more now, bearing in mind that like when you're trying to pop off, like the idea of say like Aether Wildfire into Stir into Fork, that's a very expensive turn, and like to be able to play all those at instant speed, like that's, now you need Kano activations to be able to do that, or your Storm Striders, or there's a lot at play, and that those become very greedy, resource hungry plays. So, and that's where I think the best case scenario for what Kano is capable of post Everfest is still, we don't know right now. No one's tapped into it yet. We're starting to get there, and we've actually seen some results in CC, which is interesting. I think this skirmish season, Kano is definitely one to keep an eye on. I think some people are going to do some really cool things with Kano.
Absolutely. I do think one of the heroes that has a very good shot against Kano and is also residing right there on top of the meta right now is Oldhim. Oldhim in particular has a fatigue build that has come into vogue that it's just it is a wall. It cannot be hurt. Doesn't matter what you put in front of it. It just stops everything. It comes with Arcane Barrier. It comes with all the defense reactions one could ever want. And it is nigh impossible to bring a tempo build into facing Oldhim and come out on top. You more often than not will just get fatigued out and you will lose. And Oldhim is content to block what you have, defense reaction, Oldhim ability, defense reaction, just keep pitching cards back into its deck to stop you from hitting it, and then coming back with the hammer, which forces you to block because you have the Frostbite on hit coming at you. I can tell you that I still haven't solved that Oldhim puzzle yet. Like I build aggro decks and they don't work against Oldhim. My two things that I think I have, at least in concept, is OTK style Viserai can go over the top on it, and Kano can, if it's lined up correctly, can also go over the top on it with Total Arcane, because you can only pitch so many cards till you run out of resources there. But I think Oldhim is kind of the boogeyman right now of the format, and I think solving the problem is going to be important for whatever deck wants to compete with it at the top of the mountain right now.
And I think Oldhim does come with a caveat. You need to know your lines. You really need to be, if you want to be able to win games with Oldhim, you got to be able to play quickly, because your games will more often than not go to time. But if you are feeling, if you do have those reps in that practice and you're feeling comfortable, Oldhim, yeah, he does have the ability to prevent insane amounts of damage. And Kano initially he had kind of a bad matchup in, but with the addition of Arcane Lantern, he can AB5 very easily now, and that can be tough. That 1 point makes such a difference.
I do think it's interesting. Kasai has actually gotten so much support that it has a good fight into just about everybody, including Oldhim. But you really need to have that presenting. You have to present enough for them to have to need to throw their hand down there. And Kasai is definitely one of those right now, especially, that can do that on a consistent level.
Well, Kasai almost feels like, to me now, if you've ever had the NCC, the Bolton Sabers, like double or triple Lumina Ascension dropped on you, that's kind of what Kasai feels like now. It's kind of like, all right, yes. I've built up my copper tokens, I hit my blood on her hands, and now it's time to pop off. And there's just sometimes really not much you can do, because they're just swinging their swords so many times and presenting so much damage that you've only got so many blocks in your hand and so many blocks in your equipment, and sometimes that's not enough.
Yeah, so Kasai, Oldhim, Kano, starting to look on the outside in. My good old boy Viserai in Blitz. That Viserai in Blitz seems like almost it seems really, really great. I have found some success going into Blitz with Viserai as kind of defaulting to a tempo. If you take if you take the CC list as boarded in for tempo and pare that down to a 40 card list, I think you have a very effective Blitz package there. Viserai and Blitz used to rely on that OTK package, which could, you did not need to go to like 24 rune chance because Blitz, so you can still hit for, if you got to 10 to 12 rune chance, you can go off OTK. But that's all you had at that point. But now with Swarm and Gloomveil and Revel and Runeblood and things of that nature, you have a very, very potent, aggressive deck on your hands. And what I've found is even in that aggressive build for Blitz purposes, you still have the ability to exploit the rune chant generation in OTK as the turn allows. So Vexing Quillhand in particular stands out for me in that Blitz package, because generating, especially if you can get a Mordred Tide, if you have rune chants on the back end and a Mordred Tide in play, breaking, Vexing, and another non-attack action, being able to generate 8 to 10 total rune chants and still hitting a Sonata is usually enough to close out the game in Blitz when you can do that. Even when not with generating that many rune chants simultaneously, you're still on a mixed damage tempo package that is often still presenting 20 to 30 points of damage on a well set up turn. And when you can do that, no matter what, you're going to have a a capable deck in Blitz.
And it's funny that you said like that you can just kind of strip down the CC deck. I did just that Tuesday night. I literally went, I feel like playing Viz tonight. We were playing Blitz, and I just kind of went through my CC deck, and I was like, I'll just take 2 copies of this, 2 copies of that, 2 copies of this. And next thing I knew, I went, that was the 3-0 that night. Like that's kind of how strong Viserai is now, and how if you put in Viserai, even in Blitz, he rewards those who put in the time with him. But if you do put in the time, or if you've put in the time in CC, he's just as adaptable in Blitz. I think was the takeaway there.
Viserai is also one of the only of the top tier heroes here, or top-ish tier heroes there, that can actually still use Plunder Run effectively in Blitz. Still has Spell Creepers. Spell Creepers Plunder Run was big pre-ban in Classic Constructed, in all sorts of Briar lists, and you can still do that in Blitz. It actually is very hard to find the room right now for Plunder Run in most Viserai iterations, given current configurations. I think, adding Revel and things of that nature actually kind of fill the spots that Plunder Run may have had beforehand. And, so, real estate is at a premium. I think Spell Creepers and being able to Plunder Run at instant speed is a special thing that I think is worth the inclusion in there. But I think you kind of got to weigh your card selection there as your playstyle dictates, and as you fine tune your deck. Right. So we have, I think it's pretty clear that those 4 decks are sitting up top right now. There's always going to be some other emerging decks here, but I don't think they've quite reached it. So I think we can go over them real quick and see where you think where you think they might stand here. And if there's something you think that's holding them back, we can bring that up. I would go to the Brutes first, and Rhinar and KO in particular. How do you feel about where they stand right now after Everfest?
KO.
I'm sorry, Levia, but we're just going to talk about Rhinar and KO.
I mean, KO, his whole game plan is to high roll. It's always been to high roll. He got more tools that kind of help him maybe high roll a little more effectively, and he can maybe go a little bigger now. I know I've heard of KO attacks for 16, 18, 24, but at the end of the day, KO rolls dice. That's his game plan, and I just don't think he's reliable enough.
I will say, if you look at my video with Breezy Fatigued episode 1, we did have a game of Blitz, KO versus Levia, and it was surprisingly well for KO. That was my first time ever piloting KO, and my final attack of the game that spoiler alert won me the game was a 22 damage attack when he had nothing left on the table to help him out, and so he was able to block 7 or something of it. But I got him good. The dice roll was surprisingly consistent when it was happening. I didn't lose Skull Crushers once, and I know this is like it. It's one game. I'm sure if I ever play it again, I'll never roll good ever again. But Skull Crushers never went. Bad beats ended up being really good in red, 4, 5, and 6. There's no downside to the roll, and you get +5 on your attack. Ready to roll essentially lets you roll with advantage. So if you can set up your turns that you are going to roll your dice for something important, using Ready to Roll and some other things, I think there's some real potential there. I think if you take a page out of Levia, one of her evolutions to turning into a better constructed deck was taking out some of that unnecessary blood debt that people were just kind of putting in there because, hey, I needed blood debt cards and I needed, this is the thematic way to build Levia. when you start putting in some of the traditional brute cards and then just the important things that make Levia unique with the 6 attack with blood debts in there, then you started building something that, is not especially viable in this meta, but it's definitely what I think pushed Levia further than where she was. I think I could see something with KO in that same line where you can still attack where your rolls are just you're only relying on the roll for the half, for the attack action, but you're still getting plenty of support, still hitting very hard, but setting up for that big turn where you can roll with advantage and come in with a gross single attack is definitely appealing to me.
Reiner, on the other hand, we can look at the more traditional brute. I mean, especially if old him does pick up in popularity, Reiner is poised to do well. And I mean, Reiner is kind of always poised to do well, because I think where Reiner struggles the most is into a matchup where the opponent's not going to block anyway, and they're just going to try to race. That can be a bit of a tough match for Reiner, but anything beyond that, anybody who's looking to do anything at instant speed or who's looking to block out a whole bunch, Reiner loves those matchups. He wants nothing more than to tear cards out of his opponent's hand and not let them be able to do things with their hands.
Wizard OTK. Intimidate. Alpha Rampage.
Yep, exactly. And then it becomes, well, I'm going to have to respond to the Intimidate trigger and gamble it all up front when they still got a handful of cards, and that's not where the wizard wants to be.
How do you feel about Ira right now? I think Ira's not in a great spot.
I'd be inclined to agree. Going into Tails Blitz meta, I tested Ira a bunch. We played around with Ira into Briar, and Ira struggles to deal with the split damage, I found. Where Ira really shined was her ability to block, say, with 2 cards from hand, and then turn around and still be able to present 10 damage. And with the split damage, with the quicker damage being presented now, all those things, Ira's having a hard time keeping up.
Yeah, I agree. It's not I think we talked about that speed of the format right now, and Ira's not built for that speed, as is. Maybe there is something there in a more aggressive build utilizing some of the Everfast cards, but I think without the Katsu ability to fetch the combo pieces, it's really, really hard to be as aggressive as it might want to be.
Yeah,
there.
And I think if you want to be a ninja at this point, you either want to be doing Benji things or you want to be doing Katsu things. Benji, I think, being the number one choice right now for ninja in Blitz.
Yeah, I think so. That Pouncing Lynx mask is huge.
Oh,
it took out Mask of Momentum as and Spring Tidings, but there's something usurped Mask of Momentum in a ninja deck as a headpiece equipment. That is a tall order, and it happened.
And I mean, I think
crazy.
I think it's just utility tools now. Like for that OTK Benji kind of build, Mask of Pouncing Lynx is better, but for like a tempo ninja, you'd still rather be playing Mask of Momentum, for example.
To wrap up our talk on Skirmish season, is there what is your dark horse deck? What is the hero that is not at the top right now that is has potential to get there if it gets solved?
Oof, that's a good question. I mean, mind you, without sideboarding, Dash becomes considerably weaker. I think that's part of where Dash really shines, is in Dash's ability to sideboard and pivot in their game plan. So probably not Mech.
I do have a quick note about Dash. There's a Dash Blitz boost aggro is great. Cannot win against Oldhim.
Oh God! No.
As long as Oldhim exists, boost aggro is meh. It goes into a lot of things well, and you can carry AB4 with it very easily, and that makes the Kano matchup even pretty good. But without the ability to go tall and max velocity is not it. I don't think it is, but it as long as Oldhim exists, Dash cannot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's things like Dash has tools for every matchup, but once again, without Dash's ability to sideboard, it makes it a lot harder. Or without anybody's ability to sideboard in Blitz, it makes it a lot harder to bring the right tool for each match. I don't know if I can think of a true dark horse off the top of my head right now, though. Like, all right, do you got one?
I am very interested to see where Briar is right now. Fair. I think a lot of people have cleared her out of their minds, and maybe it's just because I have a bias towards her, but I also haven't built her out for Blitz yet. But I definitely think that Revel in Runeblood and Swarming Gloomveil is good for all the Rune Blades, Chain and Briar included, and you still have Plunder Run in Blitz, as we mentioned before, and Briar was the one that could exploit that the most. So I do think that there is more there for her post Everfest that can definitely bring her over the top. I would still probably go the hybrid route, or at least the Channel Mount Heroic route, and start adding some of those Everfest things in there. But I definitely am curious to see how she does right now.
Yeah, I think Briar is definitely a lot stronger in Blitz than in CC, with the fact that just the decreased life totals and how explosive and fast Briar can be. She can really present 20 damage very quickly.
I think the takeaways of coming into the Skirmish season 4 is that if you are going to be successful during Skirmish season, you need to present you don't have to go turn 0 OTK, but your hero should be prepared to present a lethal damage scenario within the first 3 turns of the game, or prepared to stop that lethal scenario, and definitely have a versatile, if not overall game plan, definitely at least a superior equipment suite. I think are important things to be able to carry coming into the Blitz season here.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our meta is just so fast right now, so it's either kill quickly or be killed quickly.
Love it. 5-minute murder fests.
Be the fastest Skirmish season ever.
It's gonna be. I do enjoy it. I do like the fast games. It really is attack. Defend well and create a pivot turn scenario where you are then gaining back tempo. I think equipment's important in that. Benji creates different equipment problems than other heroes have, because you need to be able to block Benji. I think Benji is kind of like Kano and CC, where if you're showing up without the right defense package, then you're going to get eaten up. And while it might not be tier 1, it's going to show up and definitely, shake things up a little bit. So, things like Ironhide, if you were running equipment that doesn't block, now you're considering Ironhide, just so you have the ability to block. I think block 5 is the kind of target for the first Spring Tidings there. But yeah, so it's still wide open. Four heroes at the top and a couple more closing in right there. It's a good place to be in. It's
definitely
healthy,
a good place to be.
Diverse, fun. It's a fun place to be in.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I can appreciate that the meta is maybe a bit faster than some people would like it to be right now. I know sometimes I prefer those. Sometimes I enjoy those longer tactical games that are a little more grindy. But I think we're playing fast fab right now, and that's okay too.
I think so. I think Constructed is slowed down a little bit, so I think it's okay for Blitz to speed up.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Adam, I think that does it for this week's episode.
That's it. Episode 12 of the Combat Chain podcast. Still so exciting. We made it past 100 subscribers. We're pushing on to the next milestone now. So thank you for helping us get there. And I look forward to what comes next. Once again.
And hey, Adam.
Yes.
Good job. Good job. We're doing this. You done good. You know, you're the brains behind this operation. So
this is a joint operation through and through. Takes two to tango, right?
Absolutely.
I guess the obligatory shameless plugs at the end. You can find us we're on YouTube. Like and subscribe. Like I said, we're always trying to push the subscriber count there. You can also find us on all major media streaming platforms: Apple Music, Spotify. Anywhere you can stream podcasts. We do have Twitter. I am at FomTooleryTCG. And Pat?
I am at Pat Smash Good on Twitter and Discord.
And then we also have the Combat Chain Twitter at the Combat Chain. We also are trying to promote our Patreon. Did a little bit of investigating. We are now searchable on Patreon. That's so exciting.
Woo!
We are so any little bit you can give and help out just for our hosting fees and those little things right now. Little goes a long way.
Absolutely. Look, we're scaling up as we do that. There are definitely costs associated with that. We want to incentivize you to support what we're doing here, and as we grow, we are structuring our format here and how we go about things like Patreon and our YouTube and our podcast, and we hope to, as we scale up here, present appealing options for those who consume our content, and hope that we're doing a good enough job where you feel like supporting us monetarily through Patreon is definitely something that you're willing to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And we do have a Patreon shout out
to our first and only Patreon, Boris. Thank you so much. The support means
Boris,
the world.
You are the best.
Yeah, no, we couldn't be any more grateful for your support. Every little bit helps, every little bit counts, and yeah, thank you so much. But I think that brings us to episode 12 of the Combat Chain podcast. Thanks again for listening, and until next week, we're
closing the Combat Chain.
I think that was like perfectly spot on.